Hello?
Spiritual religions to explain the unexplainable. Right, as you said, David, there are fewer and fewer things that are unexplainable, which would make sense. There's a lack of religiosity in the country, or like a growing lack of religiosity.
Well, that happens. They want to believe. Maybe they fear other bad outcomes. So the most convenient architecture to them might be that they were told to have faith that God has a plan for it. And it continues to fuel the egoistic society.
What would you say, David, to an alternative view, which is that religion stopped explaining science a long time ago, and most people hold on to a religion not for its science explaining capability, but for its moral explaining capability?
Well, I just think it's part of explaining reality. It's part of explaining human history. That if you want to adopt a scientific framework, it explains these things, and then take on fewer assumptions that you shouldn't make claims about the future because it's not. And maybe I hit the fork in the road like you did and chose the path that had more explanatory power.
But that was, I mean, I think some of that stuff touched on like eternal life and soul in a moral sense, but I feel like
it's language.
Science is not touching.
They're placeholders.
Science is not touching morals. Do you think, or am I wrong?
What touches morals? That's a social thing. Science doesn't touch social things. Almost, you probably agree that economics is not the same kind of science. It's not hard science like
I don't believe economics is a science.
Right. So when you I don't know where the membrane is. Am I stepping outside of science when you take a scientific language like math and explore finance? That's not economics, but
how would you use science though to solve a moral difficulty?
It's not a moral claim that science can address. It's scientific to go on a ledge for.
I guess I'm just asking what you would.
Look, when I go pick up my kids from school, am I using science to say hello? No. Science is used for
Hello?
I'm just asking, what would you say to somebody who thinks that their religion remains necessary because they
Hello?
moral loads?
Well, then I would just ask them, what else informs their moral perspective? What is the right thing to do about buying Bitcoin? That can't actually be in the Bible.
Hello?
Because they're not. So I would step over this phone and prisoner's dilemma. You can talk about hypotheticals without bringing up religion. If you do that too early with somebody, you're probably going to get them to not exactly tell you what they believe.
Hello?
Because they're going to be so defensive that you're looking up their constitutional cert too much.
Hello?
Try to use case studies. I mean, I don't think I've interviewed people about their money and started what informs their moral point of view from a religion. Those things either happen naturally and people want to share them with you, or you're trying to interrogate somebody and they're not at church. They're not where they would share that kind of thing with you.
Pachinko! Around the concept of God, that's all an atheist does is they swirl like a turd. Swirling around the toilet, facing the inevitable suction and demise.
We've kind of largely outsourced people's
desolation
to talk on these topics. But
oblivion.
How did you bring it moral?
Down the Hello? Hello?
I feel a way about a thing. I don't really get. I'm making a decision based
Fuck that part. Someone will cover, so let's go.
It's also an extra word.
Be safe. Fun.
You usually get with people
Joy.
in context, but there's like, objective morals and all that stuff goes way off the range.
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin, when people say that their morals are informed by this really old book, I might need to follow that up is, upon whose authority are you Catholic? Is there a pope? Is this, what intermediates that book, if anything? Because they didn't write the book. They had to have heard it from somebody else.
Hello?
And usually, largely people's religious... Oops. What's up, hero?
What's up, Caleb?
Yeah, I think that moral discussions are really private, things that are usually not even addressed by, Brian breaks up with his girlfriend, decides to go on a ski trip, then he invites her. Is that a moral thing? I mean, it's not science. It's science. People's social lives are messy, so I think the desire for morality, it feels like there's some rule book, and for science is a procedure book, and most people's lives are the collisions of other kind of particles.
Where would you put this one? So I was speaking and performing at a conference, and my previous girlfriend came with me 2 years in a row, because I was the speaker 2 years in a row, but for the second one, they added her to the conference. She had MFA, and it was, some of it was education, poetry, and all this kind of stuff. So she was a journalist at the time, so at BU, as a grad student. So anyways, they brought her, they're like, oh, she'd be great to add to it. And we broke up in between that time, and it was coming up in like a month. And but we were on good terms, but it was coming up in like a month at the point which I was already dating my current wife. And she wanted to do it because it was my wife wanted to come. So it was one of the first events my wife came with me, and that was my ex-girlfriend, and it was very, very awkward. And my morals were, I wanted to take that money. I couldn't tell the other person not to go, and I wasn't really all that upset that she was going, because I didn't think there'd be that much overlap. Here's the moral question: did you discuss with your current wife the dynamic ahead of time? I didn't know that. I did. So you had disclosure, and she said she wasn't ready to go. She said, that's what she said. She said, great, I can't wait to go. And because I was in the mountains, and it was at well, not the mountains. What was the moral dimension of the mountains here? And I was just saying, it was like it had a little going away vacation kind of deal. It was up in state in the beginning of the winter, and it's pretty far up there in New Hampshire. Anyways, so yeah, that was just brought me back to that wonderful business decision I made. That was not a good decision, and I have paid the dividends since.
12 produce 70 that go to Egypt. You'd want to put at like 1,000 or something BCE. And the amount of time that they spend in Israel, 400-ish years of a monarchy and different civil wars, Then they get expelled 70 years. They come back roughly, another 400 years until you're at the year 0 with the final expulsion, right? So that's about 1,000 years. Okay? 1,000 years of history for the Jews that we're talking about that I'm saying I descend from. Then, about 2,000 years of those same people living in Europe. In Eastern Italy, Northern Italy, the Germanic region, then blossoming into the Ukrainian, Hungarian, Austrian, Lithuanian regions, right? All blooming up Italy and France, right? We can't ignore France, the German Ashkenaz region. They were in Europe, my ancestors were in Europe for 2,000 years, and claimed to be from the era of Jews that were in Israel for 1,000 years. So yeah, I am very European of the past 2,000 years.
I know me, I'm a nigger Jew. I'm proud of it. Yeah.
What did you say? My ancestors were Zoroastrian, and Benjamin yesterday read a paper on how we are all Zoroastrians, we're all Jews. So, by association, I am Jew too.
I'm just joking. I'm not really one. Batman saved a black man in the animated series.
You black. No, because black people don't need a savior. We good. You black, nigga. How people think like you listen to the word, like we took the word and we make it what it is. Like how the hell is that hurt me? I'm gonna use it on you.
Because the N-word is in black people.
Yeah, nigga, boy, we got the best.
I'm sorry.
You know the headers was a 115? No, nobody cussing at their desk. So 150 we had. There you go.
Thanks so much.
Have a good day. Something with your word and that.
You definitely those at the market.
He was supposed to put a picture up of his body without a shirt.
Sure. They all aren't.
But I think he's a little shy. What the hell is it? What kind of shoes are those, nigga? You going hiking? The fuck?
Oh my god, I saw it.
Broken ass shoes. No wonder why he's mad at you.
Then the motherfucker don't harm his pants.
That's how they dress up there in Morocco. Y'all ain't got no style, bro.
What's in his earphones? His earpods under his phone.
This nigga still got wired earpods.
Hey, it's all about what's underneath them clothes, man.
I was scared of my So what the hell did you just say, Hero?
Girl, aren't you married? I'm Muslim. I like to walk but not touch.
Hey, where you go?
Mad Jew in the room. Mad Jew in the room.
Y'all kicked him out.
Oh, nah, I didn't kick him.
I kicked.
You did?
No, I said I didn't.
Oh.
Who'd you kill?
There's some really cool area along. If you go to Rome today, there's the Justavia River.
Okay.
That's the oldest settlement of the Jews in Europe ever. It's around 200 BC. Yeah.
That's the guy that looks like. Everybody look up Bro Your Dreams on YouTube. This guy looks exactly like me. Here, I'll put it up.
Who does?
Say it. Sorry, I'm in a cafe. It's kind of loud here. My apologies.
Yeah. I'm gonna put his page up. This guy looks just like this guy.
The oldest settlement of the Jews is in
Like said, are you familiar with that? The Trastevere River. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I've been to the Roman ghetto many times.
Oh no! This is before the Roman ghetto. This is before the Roman ghetto.
Like Matt, swear, the link at the top. That look just like Matt. That's your brother, Matt.
It's a handsome-looking guy, I must say.
There you go. This is the guy, Grow Your Greens. He's all about gardening. I used to watch him.
Who's this guy?
Oh man, I'm doing some gardening today. But yeah, if any of you have been to Rome, it's so beautiful. Rome is so beautiful.
What are you playing?
What am I planning? Oh, okay. So along my fence, I'm going to do some hops. You guys know hops that you make the beer with?
Wait, before you keep going, what kind of fence do you have? You got like a picket fence, traditional kind of fence?
Well, I'm in Calgary.
No black people get
That's just
Smiler?
No, I'm in Calgary. I'm in like quote unquote the most dangerous neighborhood in Calgary, but it's beautiful. It's no problem whatsoever. It's a nice place.
Alright, so what kind of fence?
Yeah, actually white fence, yeah. My neighbor's Vietnamese.
Okay.
All the folks in my town here are either Vietnamese or Ethiopian or Sudanese or Eritrean.
So what kind of grass you got? Is it fescue?
I don't know. Grass and plant, regular grass. Grass that will grow in Canada.
Does it show if you cut it, or is it cold temperature?
Oh man, sometimes -40 here, bro.
Oh, so you got cool grass, alright. So you fescue, Kentucky blue, maybe something like that. Alright.
Oh man, I wish I had the Kentucky blue. That would be amazing. That shit's beautiful.
All that matters is
Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna do some planting here, but yeah.
what kind you got to put some
Okay, so I'm gonna grow some scarlet runner beans. You know what those are?
Scarlet water beans,
Runner beans.
No.
Okay, so they can grow like 12 feet tall along a fence. And they're like little red flowers, but you can also eat the beans. Okay, cool. And then we can throw some morning glories. Some of the morning glories, you know, they grow everywhere. I'm gonna try to make it so that my entire fence is just covered in like creeping vines and flowers.
All of these are tall.
Oh, really tall. And then I'm gonna put in some sweet peas. They smell amazing, you know, sweet peas. Really tall creepers. But the hops I'm the most excited for because the hops you grow like here. The hops, if you really space it. I don't have much space. It's small. I'm in a neighborhood, but
Is it big enough?
yeah, it's big enough. Yeah. Gotta try to make whatever you have around you beautiful. That's my
Give you a nice trench, bro. Get you a nice deep trench. Maybe really put some. Maybe you got a white fence up there. Probably
Okay. Yeah, looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely nice.
Well, when I was in Dubai, the Muslims, they were saying, at any mosque, anybody can pray. If you're Christian or Jewish, you can pray there.
The guy that does the fragrance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, this guy's cool as fuck. He was over there. He was selling. Yeah, he was over there. He was mixing stuff. doing custom fragrances and shit. Yeah, this guy's cool, man. I remember talking to him early in the morning on my way to work one day. Yeah, about how the culture is so different. You know, it was conversation.
But I think the Italians have the best soil.
I remember people, bro.
Yeah, the sweet peas, I'm excited for that. I really hope to grow them well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess you can say that.
Yeah. In Argus in LA, it's hard to grow stuff, eh? It's really dry and hot.
Listen,
What can you grow?
Like the only thing we have is an olive tree, and like it depends if you go to Ramona on the suburbs of San Diego. We do grow really good grapes. Also, a lot of wineries there.
Okay.
So grapes do really well. Avocados do excellent in full grow.
Okay.
I was thinking of purchasing like one of these avocado farms where ROI is fantastic on it, but it's extremely hard to freaking maintain it. So they're very delicate sort of fruits or vegetables, whatever they are. Eaten very often. You need like a good crew to maintain your farm, etc. It's a very tedious kind of investment, although the ROI is good on it. But other than that, I think olive trees grow well. What is it called? Angeal. What is Angeal? Figs grow well. My neighbor has a whole lot of like tomatoes, like her entire backyard is filled with tomatoes. And when you're living in the largest city, I live very close to the hub. It's
Zargus, if you have a chance, grow something called Osmanthus fragrans. Osmanthus fragrans. Try to picture this scent. So you take apricot jam, and you take vanilla, and you take coconut milk custard, and mix that together, and that's exactly what Osmanthus fragrance. It's like an apricot and vanilla and coconut milk. It's unbelievable. I'll throw it in one. I know you can roll it down where you're at, because we grow in Tokyo, so yeah, I'll throw it in one.
Matt, I wanted to ask you something. I have synesthesia, right? So for me, I smell and I taste and visualize simultaneously. So I was like,
Stupid fucking bitch. Stupid bitch. She feels life simultaneously.
Can you smell the fragrance?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I had no one hit me, but I was still able to mix perfumes because I can kind of like
in your head.
Yeah, exactly. I can write down like pen and paper and formulate from my mind's eye, kind of, like, for example, there's many famous musicians, if they lose their hearing, they can still like write symphonies and stuff like that, or write music, because it's in your head.
It's never been.
Of course you can.
Yeah, of course. That's why I asked. Because Hendrix never learned formal music. He too had what I have, and it was just like a mix of like variations of colors and the permutations and combinations of keys that led him to make a tune out of it based on the colors that he mixed and matched.
Well, it's not a strange thing, because the human brain always thinks in terms of analogies, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, everything we do is analogical, like the old expression, like the map doesn't match the territory. Like the universe and reality is super complex, and so as human beings, we're just analogy making machines, and that's when we come on the app, we're basically arguing with each other about the analogies. We're like, no, your analogy's wrong. No, I believe your analogy is too simple. You know what I mean? But none of us are actually talking about the real fucking world,
Right. Also,
It's too complicated.
I agree. Also, the Eastern world, like you see that how they came up with pictorial depictions of demigods, goddesses, etc. was simply because language was not that prominent at the time. Right? It wasn't as formulated, as sophisticated. And so, like attributes, etc., were shown in the form of like the very ornate paintings, etc.
Yeah.
So symbolism is very innate, I think, within us humans, and the figures and forms. And this is why I think, like, the one God concept without a form is one of the hardest things to sort of, come to the conclusion of. Because at some point, you need some form, some manifestation. It's just,
Yeah, I threw that flower down there, guys. If any of you guys like live in a place that's kind of warm or hot, you have to check out this flower. I swear to God, it smells like better than anything in the world. It's like so creamy, like milky coconut, but then also like a beautiful, like overripe apricots. Anyways. Bro, it's amazing. It's amazing. Anyways, guys, I have to fuck off. I gotta go get some work done. I'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good day.
Later, Mom.
Enjoy your greens. No, girl, she can't grow a damn thing.
That is one interesting ass dude. Didn't hear you talking about stuff, man. Jen, he just travels places and makes people custom like fragrances.
Perfumes.
He says that he was in Dubai because they love that shit over there.
Dude, Matt is
Like everybody wants their own smell.
Matthew is such a kind-hearted human. Like, he's so kind-hearted. He's one of those rarities who wants the world to be a better place.
Yeah, I don't think the people would be a better place. I wanted to say fucked up.
Look at this Jew ball.
I saw black. Then we can't understand how good, how good it is, we need some fucked up shit here and there. Yeah, that's true. The world is how quickly we get used to stuff. Like, I do drone delivery now. The first time I did a drone delivery, I went out with my son. We're like, wow, this is so convenient. We just ordered it. It only took 5 minutes. Now I'm like, man, where are my pretzels, man? Ridiculous, man. It took 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Say drone delivery? How are you doing a drone delivery? That's an option, or is that just doing it in the neighborhood? Yeah, we're in Texas, man. Wait, hold on. Wait, what is this? Drone delivery. Like, you got a drone and you pick the shit up with a drone and you deliver it to the house.
Would that be?
So, depending on the state you live,
like the drone delivers it?
Yeah, the drone delivers it straight to your house.
Wait, so welcome to this. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, pray and shit. You say, in the name of Jesus, and our Father, who art in heaven. You finish the prayer, and then you say, good morning, son. You give some cereal, then you do what?
It's like this. Oh, man, I forgot to get eggs.
Oh, shit.
I forget eggs.
I got to fucking
I got to drive it for 30 minutes.
All right.
What's the button? And it comes to me at 5. Which one would you do?
Shit, man. I'd rather take a trip.
What the heck?
All right, look, fast forward.
You're using gas, right? So it costs more. And
Look, fast forward.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You do all that shit, get the eggs or whatever, get the pancakes or whatever, and then you go to work. All right, what happens now? You go ahead.
No, I'm still stuck on the fact that people complain after they've had that done for them. But you wouldn't get it because you're not thinking about the grandmother, right? Who has disability issues. Well, this is changing their life. You're not thinking about that.
This is going to live.
So why are you straining the system? What you like?
Yes, bitches. Why are you not thinking about those?
I'm protecting it. You need people to onboard so it scales. How do you think you're on Clubhouse?
I'm all for you, Freeman.
It is what?
All for convenience, comfortable life.
I just want to know how this drone shit work.
So multinational companies are building drone beehives so they can just send their product to the consumer without an intermediary.
Cooling and electric understands the meaning of great service.
That's how you get the fucking drone.
Warehouse.
I turn on that company's app. And then it sends me what I want. I don't keep the drone. The drone hovers above the house and drops on a through line the product in a box and then flies off. It's coming to a city near you.
Are you using that service? Amazon stock?
I got Amazon stock, man. I got my stock.
So how fast is this?
5 to 10 minutes.
God damn. So you just bought it at the store?
Even less than
Yeah, it took you long enough. That's pretty good, man. Yeah. So my thing is I hate my shit. I feel like if I get you on here right now, like you're not gonna wait for it to get to me, then charge me. You're gonna charge me right now. So I need my shit right now. What it is,
I have a past maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Because it's very traumatizing to do grocery shopping, and one must protect their mind because of the amount of options that you have, and plus the interactions you have with so,
I think sometimes
yeah, but they give you some bad vegetables. Most of bad vegetables. That's correct, that's true. So then, listen, you can return it.
It's just trade-offs. even if you go to the grocery store now, you're checking yourself out, which I don't like. I'm not talking about the right person. I buying the material. I gotta check myself out. And then there's somebody at the door to make sure I didn't steal. So like, why is this so stupid shit? That's just crazy. You go to the store, like you can go to any store, any restaurant now, they have all these stupid kiosks.
and then you go to the damn store, they got 18 registers.
These companies are greedy. Like, I do like the drone thing because I was a delivery driver for years. I know how dangerous it is to, like, almost get hit by a car and you're like, man, I'm taking food to someone's house. I almost just died, you know? Right. So they can eliminate people on the road. That's great. But some other technologies...
That's all like being a mailman. I'm walking in the neighborhood. I'm on the sidewalk.
You know?
One time,
I I think drone delivery would be great for you guys. Yes.
What if they drop it at different people's home?
Oh, there's all sorts of horrible things can happen. I mean, it takes a lot of coordination. That's why it's not in every state, because it takes a lot of coordination if you have these things in the air. What if the drone dies and falls on someone's head?
What if you ordered something super expensive?
Right.
What if
I'll run right under that motherfucker and give me a loss.
The technology exists right now for a lot of
playing catch with my son and I got hit by a drone.
Drop on me.
You know people doing that shit.
Fuck, man. Imagine death by droning. Literally.
How your dad died? No, he got hit by a drone.
I got hit by
Was that a war? Oh man, Amazon, man.
I would think these drones would have been activated like years ago.
No, the technology exists. The problem is regulation.
Yeah.
Because
That's the Democrats. Ever since the Trump administration came through, all this regulation came about. You know,
I think that's wisdom here, because we have planes that crash into each other, so they really have to figure out how they can command the same airspace without colliding. I think they should slow walk it, definitely. So right now they're doing a lot of testing where I am. We've got like 6 companies that are flying medical supplies. I mean, think about it, man. Like, someone gets bit by a cobra, and the venom is far away. That kind of solves that problem, you know. Sensitive things. So it is a good thing, but they shouldn't rush it, because these companies are super greedy. They just want to make money. They want it on the road, and it's like, no, it's not perfect yet. Because, like you said, sometimes they deliver to the wrong house, you know.
Can you imagine like someone else's Vicodins being delivered to your house? Or the actual?
It's the same thing now, though, right? How many times you go outside and it's like your neighbor's package?
Yeah.
So, or the delivery driver steals it.
Listen, one time the delivery driver stole the blush I ordered with mascara. So it was bizarre. And then my building has, what do you call this? Cameras, security cameras. So when I went and watched it with the management, the chick she's opened it. She's tested it on her hand. Okay? And who would do that? And then she's she's just conveniently walked away with the package. She's seen the shade, like, look nice on her skin tone. She took the freaking package and scooted in a freaking Amazon van. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I did delivery for years. Delivery people, they eat your food. They do all sorts of stuff, man. So.
Bro, my mom and dad had just arrived. I ordered whole lot of like meat, they're meat eaters, and all kinds of Middle Eastern food, Mediterranean. This restaurant has like all 3 varieties. And they had just arrived, and I was like, okay, let's have a feast. And they're tired. They've flown for 12 hours. Freaking that thing never arrived. Again, went to the management, looked at the security camera. The ladies come all the way to my doorstep and walked away with the food. Just taken it and gone. So she's made the effort to come to the door. She's taken a picture, right? Hasn't rang the bell. And that was $300-something of food. Picks it up and goes. Just like that. And then I felt bad. I didn't complain because I think she really looked very skinny. And I thought maybe she had eyes.
I don't like that. No, that's where you just went left. No compassion. Because you got family to feed too.
Yeah, maybe she.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the city, but like, I'm kind of hardened. I drive by a homeless person. You gotta just think like, hey, some of them aren't their job. Some of them, that's their job because they're begging.
And I didn't call
Hey,
him.
how's it going today? Y'all making money? No, I asked him how y'all doing. Like, if you grew up around it, you gotta know, like, it's not everybody suffering. Some people are just in that situation because they choose to be. That's the truth.
But because it's food, right, Freeman? Like,
Yeah.
maybe she's hungry. Like, who does that? Maybe it was for her children. I didn't call. My parents said, "Don't call. It's okay. It's okay." She's taking for children. She's taking. A whole story was built around how she needed the food and how I shouldn't complain and stuff. But I mean, it happens, right? Like drones can also, like, whatever, drop wrong food in different or wrong items.
I mean, she stole $300 worth of food.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. You know, the average, everyone want to talk about poverty. What percent of Americans do you think live check to check? Do you guys know?
That is
it's like a ridiculous number. It's like 70%.
Oh, wow.
So if you stop and think about it, everybody's walking a tightrope in so-called one of the greatest nations in the world. So $300 is nothing to laugh at.
I also saw like about 80% of Americans don't even have $1,000 saving.
So any emergency, do you know how many people I drive by in the suburbs with like their car windows been broken for months? They don't have the money to fix it, So yeah, I think I get mad when I see people steal it because it's like you don't know what we're going through. Sometimes I'm mean. Sometimes if I see someone coming up and I know their neighborhood, whatever, I'll be like, I ask them for money first. I'm like, hey, you got any money? I was just about to ask you. Oh, okay. You can't. I mean, I don't know. $300 they stole from you, Nargis. I can't accept that.
That called my family friends, this and that. Like, I thought they had just arrived, so maybe like we could have a feast. And yeah, she drops the food, takes the picture, and just picks up the whole package and walks away. I mean, doesn't realize that the camera's all over the place. Kind of felt bad. And that's why I thought maybe she was just ignorant about the cameras, or she's really maybe in need, or the smell of the food might have. Oh, so sad.
What's sad is that he loves $300.
Yeah, but I just considered it charity at that moment, and I said maybe like.
How do you know she had kids?
I don't know. We made that whole story up in our head. Me and my parents and their freaking charity giving. No, it's good. She had family, she had to go family, she take it home. The whole freaking story was spun around. Like her rushing to her family to feed them.
Steal from a store.
Bro, I
Robin Hood stole from the rich and gave to the poor. Why she steal from you?
She was a junkie also a little bit. Like her eyes are all sunk because when Uber drivers drop off, they also like have to give you like picture of how they look and things like that. So when people complain, it's a legit complaint, right? Yeah, but she looked like she's using, I think.
I saw this girl, I saw video, so she ordered some food, her food got delivered, she ate her food, and then she said that the DoorDash driver didn't deliver her food so she could get a refund.
That's messed up, bro.
And then the DoorDash driver went back to the place, which was the worst. It was like, you fat ass bitch! It was hilarious.
She said she didn't get the food? What? Don't that make
Girl, you see the girl is so fat. Like, you know she would have done that.
Oh my god. So wrong. Best is the DoorDash driver driving back to freaking complain about it.
Yeah, she was really mad because that will give them like a bad review.
Yeah.
She was like, this is my job. You over here lying so your fat bitch can't eat.
Did they have this on video? Is this real?
Yeah, I'm gonna put the video in the chat.
Hold on, I'm gonna see it.
Let me just make, because my daughter crashing out.
Marcus, you there?
Yeah, Freeman.
Yeah, so I was doing delivery in D.C. Yeah, I'm going fast. I just finished doing the delivery, is getting back on my scooter. Someone grabbed my shoulder, pulled me off, put a gun in my ribs, robbed me from my phone and my wallet. Now let me ask you, what story do I need to construct in my mind for why he needed to do that? You know what I'm saying? Because the good thing is, you know, I was able to cancel the credit cards. I called to cancel the credit cards before I called the police. I'll tell you why in a second. I called to cancel my credit cards and debit cards because I know that's what he wants, right? The charges he tried to place on the credit cards were all from a company called Burberry. $600 worth.
Well, Burberry, he was freaking buying Burberry?
Can you imagine? This dude put a gun in my ribs and threatened my life so he could buy a Burberry scarf or whatever for $600.
Oh
I know
my
he was
God.
mad when he got his stupid computer. I know, I grew up in that same city, so I know what the game is. I didn't even waste my time calling the police first. I called to get my cards canceled.
Dude, he wants to kill a father for freaking Burberry? What the fuck?
So when someone says,
It's not even a good brand.
There's like a thin line between stealing and killing. If you steal, you kill. It's the truth. So, like, my mind is like, yeah, you know, you're in dire straits, but stuff like that, I could give you so many more stories. These things happen, and there's people who comply with people who do that and get killed, you know? So this is the world we live in. It's hard for me to build sympathy for someone who's willing to do that, you know? And then you're stealing from people you don't know what situation they're in, you know? Like, growing up, you see people crying because they come outside, their car's been broken into. And that car is their one lifeline to get to work, you know? We're supposed to worry about the person who did it? Nah. So, I think I'm scarred. That's what that is. I don't like, you know, go through those experiences, you'd be like, nah, I have no sympathy for someone who does that. Because they know they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know? They know they're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They know they're wrong. And still they do it.
Still they do it. Some people do it, they don't know they're wrong. That's all they were taught. Like young kids. I've seen young kids stealing. I get that. But you're a grown person. Either you're on drugs or something.
Yeah.
You know, you're not doing it because you're fit. Because look, this is America too. There's so many homeless shelters and food giveaways, and even like one thing I give credit to the Muslims in my area. All the mosques, they give tons of food every Friday. Every Friday without fail. And you see the line going off the property. They're giving food. So people know where to get food, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Made me so mad, Marcus. Like, he did all that. And he's terrified.
For Burberry.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I can't even afford a Burberry scarf.
For Burberry. Good Lord. For a piece of, like, cloth or a bag or a jacket.
Let me finish the story. I had all that information. I called the police like 3 days later. I said, here's what happened. Here's the street it happened on. Here are the transactions. Here's where you try to withdraw the money. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, you didn't die? No, we're not going to waste time on this case. Like, so the the criteria is, do you die? You know, how are they gonna help you if I die or get shot? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
So, long story short, like, you tell me someone's story. No, that wasn't the point. I only gave it to the police because I was interested to see. As I told you, I was interested to see what they would do. I didn't call them first. You know what I'm saying?
You should book a lawyer and sue the fucking cops.
Well, no, the thing is this. Police, they deal with crimes on a sliding scale. So, like, car breaking, they might not even come out. They might just tell you, you know, call your insurance. Where I live, where I lived, I should say. It's not the same in Texas. There's less car break-ins here because they know everyone's got a gun. There's less robberies and, you know.
Someone's supposed to protect you, right? So this is why, like, you catch up, you get a hold of the bigger part. So who's the one who's supposed to protect you under these conditions? Because the guy obviously has nothing. That's why he's stealing, the motherfucker. And he's probably doing it to hold on for the people.
A bunch of people. He gets a thrill out of it, obviously. I mean, you also get a glimpse into his mind. Why is he stealing? Is it something that he needs? You know, like, and not everyone is stealing because they, you know, it's like, okay. And guess what? He's stealing someone who's clearly doing food delivery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is not, like, this was years ago, but it's not, if you were looking and saying, okay, let me rob this Mercedes, they can afford it, you know, that kind of, no, that's not the thinking that's going on. So you can't assume you can enter the mind of the person, that's the point I'm saying, who stole $300 from you. You can't. All you know is that they stole they don't even know how much the food was. They just saw an opportunity. It was a crime of opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
here. But, you know, they wouldn't have done it if it wasn't there. So that lets you know who they are. Sadly. You know?
You can't sue Burberry, obviously, because he's probably bought the product online. And if he got to the store, what they'd probably ask for his ID.
Do you notice that? To make it spiritual, do you notice the Ten Commandments just says, do not steal?
Yeah.
It doesn't give any outs. It doesn't give any, you know what I'm saying? It's like, don't do it. Because there's no amount of the condition you're in can justify the act that you take that harms somebody else in that way. At the end of the day, there's poor people everywhere. Tons of them in all countries all over the world that aren't stealing. There's people in Iran who don't know where they're, or Nigeria, or wherever, they don't know where their next meal's coming from, you know? Literally.
So, in countries, so I always used to think that something happened to me some time ago, and I'm still like...
Wait a minute, I'm not Nigerian, okay?
So, I totally understand the punishment.
Oh, no, I know you're not.
Freeman, the punishment for stealing in Middle Eastern countries is basically the loss of hand, right? But it starts with, like, in Iran at least, it starts with the tip of your pinky, which they paralyze. So that the second time the person does it, it's just, they take the fingers off, and the third time your hand is out, so that you don't do it again, right? In Dubai, during the time that the year that we lived there, you could basically buy an entire store, leave the product in the middle of the mall, right? Walk away, come back in a month, and pick it up exactly from the same location.
That's very true. And I think that you know that.
It's not a good rule. Now, people are very, I mean, it's human condition, right? Anyone can steal. For the whole freaking year, my family never locked their door. There's no need. We traveled in that year. That was the year my family decided to travel. We didn't lock our door ever when we left home. Nobody dared come in. It just doesn't happen.
And that's definitely, whenever there's a punishment that's that much, you really, if someone is stealing in that condition and they know that's what's at stake, either they're insane or they truly think they'll get away with the crime. So that makes sense. But what do we do with a country like Norway or Japan? These cultures, you drop your wallet, you're going to find your wallet with all the money still in it, by and large, you know?
Same thing. If you're in my neighborhood, that's true.
I live in a good white neighborhood, and we No, I'm serious.
Who brought racism? I never brought any race. You know, I'm just saying.
Japanese ain't a race?
That's a people, bro.
It's a culture. That's a nationality. That's not a race.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
It's a
You don't
race.
get race.
It's not.
Oh, guys.
It's still American, Smiler.
Let me tell you what's happening in Norway.
America has very safe places. I'm sick of this stereotype.
Yeah, my neighbor is safe.
America has safe places, definitely. And guess what? People move to safe places on purpose. Like I never.
No, I'm saying it's so American because only Americans will say something like that.
Smiler, I live in a very, very safe neighborhood, and this still happens like every now and then. Not just to me, but sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably black people from a couple neighborhoods over
Here we go. Here we go.
There's nobody who is
It's not the people of that neighborhood, that's for sure.
such a racist.
What's the law? What does the law say about stealing, Smiler? What's the punishment in the Tanakh?
I think.
Restitution.
Yeah.
But you don't have to pay, according to you, you don't have to pay restitution because you don't follow that law. So
Oh yeah.
you steal and it's like bad, it's a sin, but you don't have to restitute.
There you go.
You don't have to reimburse nobody.
Hey man, I believe. Check this out. I believe the New Testament says very clearly that government has been given the sword not in vain. So I wish I could have called the police and they actually prosecuted crime. One of the reasons criminals are emboldened in the U.S. is that if it's not a felony, they're gonna be out in like what, half a day? If that. There's literally I literally knew people growing up who made sure to know those laws. Like, I'll make sure I steal under $500. How crazy is that?
Oh yeah. People be tripping. But in the South, it's the same thing. I mean, they have.
Listen, in countries like Morocco and Egypt. No, but in countries like Morocco and Egypt, you think it's safe, although like they still comply with the whole stealing laws and stuff like that, which I'm assuming. Fucking, you get ripped the moment like you get stolen the minute you go like see the pyramids.
There's a different kind of thievery.
It's a different kind of thievery. Shoes or something or the other is freaking lost. Now, it doesn't mean that thievery doesn't exist, although there is that kind of Sharia law. Dubai just implements it well because of the bigger pot that people, live in, that hold bigger amounts of money. It can't afford as a country to go through that sort of fear of economic loss.
Right. That's one of the reasons I don't like going to Nigeria. I tell people straight out, like, I don't like it because, no, man, like, the police will stop you and be like, oh, God, hey, come on for some money. Like, what is going on, yo? I'm not paying you money to drive on the road. They will set up roadblocks and be like, oh, we haven't been paid. I'm like, yo, this is insane, and my family be like, you just gotta keep a little money, you gotta break them off with a little something. I'm like, in principle, this is insane.
Yes.
I'm driving down the road,
In India, Saturday night, when we go like clubbing or go to a concert, on the way back, if like there's a freaking, if anyone's drunk, they just stop people to get the alcohol from them, these cops. They say, what are you drinking? What kind of cigarettes do you have? And that's how bad it is. And you basically give him whatever, your drink, and then he lets you go.
It's like a cop toll to move around Nigeria. So, nah, I don't like that at all. That's for me, that's stealing also, That's stealing.
That's bribery and stealing. Feel me?
Yeah.
That's stealing life off a person that this fucking drunkard is gonna hit and die.
Like, Nargis, where you been that you've had it's like that? India, you been to India?
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's not good to stick out. Like, when I go to Nigeria to hear my accent, oh no. All of a sudden the price went up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you're freaking fair scared. You're sitting in an auto rickshaw for the experience of it, or you're just riding the three-wheeler freaking taxi. First thing he'll ask is, "Madam, where you're from?" And then he like, "Yeah," and then I speak back in their local language because I learned it. No, but where you're really from? And then like, when you're off the rickshaw, every single time I've paid 3 times more than what everyone else gets charged. Just because I'm a foreigner in the land. Fucking rip off foreigners like anything. It's messed up.
Man. I'm smiling. You thought you were going to go to the motherland and it would be all love. You can't even get your, like in Nigeria though, one time they tried to hold my luggage hostage. I was like, in the airport? Damn. The handler was like, yeah, oh God, I'm like, no, don't give me that, oh God, that means boss. I'm not your boss. You know what I'm saying? Give me my luggage. So what I do is I play dumb. That's like the best thing to do. Like I play like I have no understanding of that, you know? Like, cause they're speaking English to you. You know, like the Creole. I'd be like, no, I don't know what you're saying, boss. I need my luggage though.
Let's not forget you always carry some amount of cash in your pocket, Smiler, because you never know who you need to bribe when. Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
I guarantee you, too. All the people go to Mecca because I read the articles. That's where they spend the most money.
What is it?
Yeah. What you gotta do is this is what you gotta do, right? So you gotta fold up the $20 bill in like a square triangle. You know what I'm saying? Like something you can just fit in your hand. Because if you're pulling out money and you like peeling it off, then you're done. You know it.
Try that.
Like it's
You're done. So just have the little cubes in your pocket.
That's right.
Whatever it is. This way you do the little cube thing. You just give them, you know, like a drug exchange or whatever it is.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Nobody sees anything.
You put your hand on the shoulder.
Nobody sees anything. Exactly.
You put your hand
Don't
on
you
the
try
shoulder.
to peel off money trying to be cool guy because then you're gonna get fucking ripped off. Yeah.
How do you know this shit?
I always do it better.
Yeah, you.
Because I travel. What do you want? What?
So this is what it is.
The belt? You know about the belt money? The money in the belt?
Of course I do.
Hold it up.
Of course I do.
Yeah. They can rob you, but you got the money folded up in the leather belt with the.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, they don't know about that in Argus.
You don't know it. Sometimes you fold it like a rocket, right? The thing is, you put your hand on the shoulder. We still do that in the jewelry trade. It's all like just a handshake. So you put your hand on the shoulder, you get close to the man.
Yeah, then people want to be nice to you. You know what I'm saying? That's when people want to be nice to you. But if you're trying to be a cool guy, peeling off money like that, they're like, oh, no, fuck this guy.
Always lay low. Always lay low.
I would give them some funny hadiths instead, and they'll find some funny.
They're not going to know them. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No,
they don't know these hadiths. They don't know these hadiths, bro. What hadith? They're going to look at you like.
The people in the back. They don't know
intellectual discourse. No one knows this because of the information age. And freaking the biggest downfall I think that happened to the hadith corpus was information age. It was everything being on the internet. People just type it in and it pops. They didn't know they had this shit for the longest time.
Margaret, where did Matthew Amir Richardson go? Man, I want to hear his Cabainism now.
Matthew, bro, Raymond, they are on TikTok. They're still like.
Oh, they're on TikTok still preaching it?
Still
wow,
preaching it.
they're bold.
They're doing very well too. They've developed a fan following.
Wait, well, so how are they training?
There ain't nobody on TikTok, bro. Stop. Nobody on TikTok.
How they training? What's
They are following people. They told me they are like.
I gotta say on the live. I have to say on the live. If I gotta say, then I don't belong in that fucking site. Straight up.
So they were telling me, like, why don't you join TikTok? We're doing so well on it. I said, I don't want to support your political ideology, obviously. pushing it, man, Freeman.
And low after all the, summary executions of the people. I thought he was making chill out for a little bit.
But to be honest, like I had a talk with him and I said, like, what is it that you're pushing? It's not the person per se. I think they're pushing like the ideology of the Republic, which played a role. Where there's like a philosopher king, he's wise, under him are wise men, and such intellectuals, mass rule society, which seemed to be the very intent of the revolution when it came about. And it flopped quite quickly because within the first year, there was the 9-year war that followed, right? So if I have to objectively look at it, I think they never got to exercise that. It just never blew. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Hey, so
Yeah.
you work for it.
Think about it, like idealism and politics, theocracy and politics. Just two things that cannot be married, unless the ruler is a Jesus or a prophet or someone extremely pure with like high level of compassion, justice, etc. Otherwise, this philosophy king will always fail because of human conditions.
A little jaded right now with philosophy in general when they see the outworking of, if Hermione falls in that category. He's going right, I'm going left. That's how people are looking at it.
Freeman, if you read his work, at least his mysticism, right? He was a big fan of Aquinas, a big fan of Ibn Arabi, and within the first year, he was like feared, mostly by all like traditionalist Muslims in his own country and outside of it. So it seems like he did come with some sort of revolutionary thinking in order to better the world. In fact, he did initially start to extend his hand out to the Arab countries around him who were already like pretty much subjugated by the West and were booty clapping for it. So it didn't work. This thing just didn't work out for him. Now, did he go cray after that? Yeah, I think not just he, but his cabinet. It was something that never ever came to fruition for whatever reason, right? But I think the brethren are saying that he intended for such a thing, and such a thing is possible, and it's called a noocracy. So this system of noocracy is what they hold to, like politically. Now, whether it works or not, bro.
I think the biggest part, I can't speak. Persons have to speak for themselves, but I don't like the idea of, who I am being swallowed by an ideology that maybe is not necessarily foundational. You know what I'm saying? There was something called Persia before there was Islam. And I'm not saying that religion or truth doesn't speak to even who you are. It does. I'm just saying it doesn't destroy it either.
I agree.
It's hard to see Persians today. They don't even use the word anymore, right? Maybe they do in passing.
We do, very much we do. Like, we use it in California a lot. Like, I introduce myself as a Persian. I don't introduce myself as an Iranian for the longest time, right? Simply because I don't want to show, like, solidarity with the freaking government. However, like, if you look at our history, from the very beginning, whoever came and invaded and overtook us, we embraced it. Like, there's a very interesting girl on one of these Iranian rooms that I go to who was saying we took everyone's culture, religions, philosophies, we eat it up, we chew it up, and what we spit out is something that looks highly creative and a new version of that thing. And it's true. This sort of inclusivity allowed for the Persian Empire to expand the way it did. Because including language, like here the Afghans speak Dari, which is the original Farsi, and here like someone like me or Sela, for example, speak Farsi. it sounds Frenchy, it sounds German, and it's simply because of the inclusivity and the freaking intake, which we don't have any.
Yeah, Marcus, that's a good thing, but you meant the final boss. Islam is the final boss that, like,
right,
yields the least amount of ground. So, like, look, let me give a concrete example. My Persian friend, who was my best man in my wedding, right, told me one time, oh, yeah, God is Khuda,
Khuda,
But he said, now, when he travels to Iran, he said he slowly noticed over time people would be like, Greek with Allah instead of Khuda. It never was an issue when he was younger,
It's
so, like, there's like, and then me also speaking another language, I don't think God, yes, you know who the name God is in Christianity, but, like, people are going to call out to God from within a cultural context,
Correct.
It's like in Yoruba, like, the creator of the universe is known as Eleda, and we had no problem when Christianity came. In fact, the missionaries were very careful to say, that creator is, Hashem. Right? So, like, it's not removing from where people are. Whereas I feel as though, like, there's an imposition being made on the Persians right now that, like, they kind of have to decide what direction they want to go. And they are deciding, because you see a lot of, Neo-Persian.
Yeah, and religion has become such a crass thing now, even adults to talk about, simply because of the policing, But the Ottoman rule didn't do well for Persia, simply because of the black and whites. There was no art and freedom in that, which is the very vein of a Persian. I was telling Daniel this a couple of days ago. So even then, Islam was taken, chewed up, and spat out as Shia Islam, right? That which allows for imagery and color, allows for music and whatnot. So, and Sufism, and all of these mystical traditions that arose from Persia, even that was transformed into something else. What the regime basically was to subjugate in terms of policing, which I think they should have.
Do you think if Saladin met Sam Shimon or Sam Shimon went through time, do you think he would change his ways?
Yo, what?
Okay.
Imagine Saladin, he's trying to storm the walls of Jerusalem, and Sam Shimon brings a mega speaker back in time, and he starts reading these funny hadiths to him.
Did he get it in English? So I think there'd be a language barrier there.
Yeah, Sam Shimon can speak Arabic.
Can he?
Yep. That'd be
okay. Yeah, I think he would be. Shamsun would probably be slain in under 30 seconds. Saladin really didn't play that much. You know what I'm saying? We got a nice, gentle image of Saladin. He didn't play that much. But coming back to Persia for a second, Vargas, I 100% agree with you. Let me get now we're talking about hadiths, right? I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I have a question. Was Farsi a written language when Islam came, or did they have a writing system?
Yeah, I think so.
It's hard to know, right?
It's hard to know.
Because I know the Shia Muslims, their hadiths. Well, first of all, the Sunnis that are Persian wrote in Arabic, but I'm thinking even the Shia sages wrote in Arabic.
Yeah, the script was pretty much common in the region, Freeman. Even Farsi is written in the Arabic script. However, we have more letters like je, pe, ge. These are words that do not exist in Arabic. Pepsi is written as Pepsi. Yeah.
What do you think about the fact that King Cyrus is written in the Bible and is kind of sold? Is that a point of pride? Is that a passing thing?
No, of course. Christians are well embraced and very loved within Iran, including the Jews. It's a system in which coexistence has been a very strong factor because we are nationalists, we're not tribalists like the Arabs. So you will never find a Persian ever tell you, or an Iranian ever tell you, I am just a Kurd. He will first introduce himself as an Iranian. And then if you pick up on his accent in Farsi, he might tell you, oh yeah, I'm from that region where the Kurds came and what do I like? So in that way, we've always had an upper hand in the Middle East so far as like a oneness sort of theme, an ummah of Iranians versus like how the ummah system, I think, sort of failed within the Middle East, although I think it was a very great thing that they tried the pan-Arabism, but it's too tribal, man, Freeman. It's so built on who your father's was, similar to, I think, the Jewish community. It's not that different.
I got a good question. Do you think there's a possibility if I start making AI-generated videos of Sam Shimon doing his evangelical work with a mega speaker back in time with Saladin being outside the Jerusalem walls? It's like Sam Shimon's out there with a megaphone. Do you think there would be a following for that?
Man, you're going to have such a group of people flock to you who are like you. It's going to be like amazing. But Nargis, the tribality, man, I don't know, man. I think we're designed to be tribal.
Agreed.
As human beings.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, tribe succeeds simply because we take care of our communities, etc. But I think, although we're designed to be that, we're also designed to kill. We're also designed to steal. It's not that we don't have it within us, the potential, right? We choose not to. So in doing so, we're ascending from our flesh.
Yes. Mute your mic.
When I say design, I mean that, like, obviously there's like the Yoruba tribe or Kurdish tribe. That's from God. There's no doubt about it, you know?
Yeah,
the question is, what do we do with it? Like, how do we live amongst each other? I think Islam is one of the reasons why Islam makes more incursions as a religion than any other religion is that it's like tribalism that religion, you know? Because there are physical, what makes someone a tribe? The way you speak, the way you dress, right? But Islam has all that, you know?
But it has it as a one system. Exactly. It's a plumber in itself, right? So, but it does seem to encourage kind of oneness of humanity, songs, color, language, region, geography, etc. And I think that was the very intent of historical Muhammad, to come and preach this simply because tribalism was so extreme, much like Buddha came to overcome the freaking high priests in the caste system that had developed in Hinduism. That he was like, no, we're all equal in the sense that we're spiritual beings, etc. So even verses in the Quran that I've read where it says, your position on earth is based on your piety, not the color of your skin or your tribe or your language. And I think this is a great advantage and an attractive point in Islam and Christianity as such. Judaism too follows such laws, however, keeps it within the Jew community.
I think that there are pros and cons to uniformity.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you mean that Islam came to have everyone be one in a certain respect, like in dignity, for instance, I think that's a pro. But when you mean that everyone should be one in dress, you see what I'm saying? We have an issue. Okay, you're meeting people, for instance, that wear no clothes. How do you bring Islam to them? They don't wear clothes because they're not savage. They don't wear clothes because they're in the Amazon, for instance. And this is the best way to live here, right?
Right. But even with clothes, right? So even with clothes, it's not that it's saying no to the culture. In fact, it talks about how one must encourage each other's culture and language. But it does seem to place a standard for modesty, for example, which again you might make the argument that this might fail because in the Amazon, for example, in the forest, women who show their breasts or shake their boobies and walk without ever finding that to be absurd or even immodest, that works within that culture, right? It is not like when I go pick her or sexually abusing her because of the way she is. That is just the norm of the place. One could make the argument that, yeah. But I think it was addressing like a majority position, wherein like a family system can be held well if some sort of modesty is maintained, both from men and women.
Yeah, I think if you're speaking of modesty from a morality principle, yes.
Yeah.
Whatever is immodest within that cultural context should be avoided.
Correct.
I'm just thinking about the strict letter of the law. Now, this is where I'm going to get on Not Smiler. I call him Not Smiler. Because Not Smiler says everyone should be circumcised. Not Smiler?
Because Smiler's dying to get in some kind of dogma structure in Christianity, which I don't blame him, bro. Smiler, I know.
I'd love to know what A thinks about this. A, what do you think about this?
Sorry, I just came back about what?
Do you think everyone who becomes a Christian is supposed to be circumcised?
Like a grown man?
Look, I'm just speaking about the law y'all say y'all keep. I'm keeping it real.
So from what my understanding of what the New Testament is saying is that you don't have to be circumcised to come to Christ because the law of circumcision is on the 8th day anyway. So you can't even keep that law if you're grown and not circumcised. But I believe that Christians that have children, that have boys, should circumcise their boys.
As a matter of religious principle, or do you believe as a matter of, like, how do you believe it? Like, remember, I'm speaking in terms of, if God commands us to water baptize when we come to a saving knowledge of Christ, that's a command that's like, hey, if you don't do this, you're out of order. You know what I'm saying? Do you put circumcision in that same category?
That's what I'm saying. So if someone is already grown, they can't keep that law because the law says to be circumcised on the 8th day anyway. So if you're like 30, you know.
Yeah. We're not talking about infants. I'm talking about a child, and you're a parent.
Okay, I think Christians should circumcise their children. Yes, 100%. But I wouldn't say, hey, if you don't circumcise your child, you're going to hell. I wouldn't say nothing like that. You know.
Yeah.
But I believe children should be circumcised. Boys, of course.
Yeah, I just look at circumcision, like, from what I see, I could be wrong here. I say that readily, but what I see is, in Acts 15, the Judaizers stood up and says, unless the Gentiles get circumcised and keep the law of Moses,
they can't be saved.
No, they can't be saved.
Yes, that's exactly what they said.
Hold on, Acts 15. Acts 15, it says in... Where is it? Hold on. Okay. Verse 5. The Gentiles must be circumcised and required to keep the law of Moses. See that?
Read verse 1.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Verse 1 says that. Unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved. Right. But the people who are saying that in verse 1 are not the same people talking in verse 5.
1 second. We're going to chop that week.
Yeah. This is where I jammed Not Smiler up the other day.
Yeah. What are you reading, Freeman?
We're at Acts 15. We're jamming up the Judaizers today. What's up, Vincent?
Snaps. All right. So Acts 16 is where you did it?
1-5.
Acts 16, 1 to 5.
Yeah, I said 1-5. I'm about to fight you.
Acts 15.
15.
Okay, what verse?
Well, let's just start with the first section, right? I'm saying the first thing I just said is the people speaking in verse 1 are not necessarily the people speaking in verse 5.
Okay, that's fine. But I think it's the same idea. I think the idea here is if you don't keep the law of Moses, you can't be saved, which I believe is wrong. You know, I think that's the main issue.
So why then later on, when they send the letter out, Because they send a letter out in
21?
verse 23. It says to the Gentile believers in Antioch, Syria, and Sicilia, we have heard that some went out from us with our authorization disturbed you, troubling your minds by what they said. And
that's the point. The point is they're saying the thing that is troubling the Gentiles is because these people are saying, if you don't keep the law of Moses, you can't be saved. If you don't get circumcised and keep the law, you can't be saved. So this is troubling the Gentiles because now they're thinking like, oh, am I really saved in Christ if I'm not circumcised? And, just how that. You see this in Galatians too.
Okay, let me ask you about verse 2. You see verse 2? The second verse. It says, this brought Paul and Barnabas into sharp dispute and debate with them. What were they disputing and debating?
They were disputing and debating if the Gentiles need to be circumcised to be saved, because the thing about circumcision in the Old Covenant is that circumcision was absolutely necessary to enter the covenant, right? So if you wasn't circumcised, you was not part of the covenant at all. So if you were a Gentile and you try to come and serve the God of Israel, you had to be circumcised. Right, but so I think that's what they're discussing, because they're like, well, are they really in the covenant of Christ if these people are not circumcised? That's what they're disputing about.
So if this whole chapter is about being saved, how come the letter doesn't address salvation?
It does in the first verse. This is the claim. That's the claim. If you don't get circumcised and keep the law of Moses, you can't be saved.
So are you saying that when it says you are to abstain from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, from the meat of strangled animals, this is what you need to do to be saved?
Nope. What I'm saying to you, wait, give me that verse. Let me read that verse.
So verse 29 tells them what they need to do. Why do they need to do? Yeah. Why do they need to do that?
Okay, because those are the things that. Okay, because these people. I don't want to call them pagans, but yeah, they were pagans, right?
We're the Gentile believers. Don't do that.
Yes, they were. They were pagans. They were. They're not pagans.
Now they're believers. They've been washed.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I'm saying to you is like these people been pagans their whole life, right? And now they're coming to the faith of Messiah. So what happens is it's basically okay. Before I move on, do you agree with me that the verse that you just mentioned, it's a starter pack?
That's what I'm trying to find out, because I'm trying to see if I need to do not the starter. I need to do verse 20.
It has to be a starter pack.
29?
Yes, you have. Because the reason why it says a starter pack is because all of you would agree with me that there's way more commandments than these ones that as a Gentile you must do.
In the Old Testament, yeah.
See, this is
like even in the New Testament. No, even in the New Testament, because verse 20. Yes.
Hold on. I want to be clear on something. Are you saying by the term starter pack that they got to start here, but they really need to eventually keep the whole law of Moses?
That's exactly what the text say.
This is so crazy. Okay. So why didn't you just say keep the law of Moses?
Because
what was he arguing?
But this is what I'm telling you, because these people have been pagans their whole life. They just coming to the faith. They're babies in the faith. Like just like Paul said, if you're a baby, you cannot chew meat. You have to be on milk. So they can't just be like, hey, you got to keep the whole law of Moses. No, you start little by little. So they start with these commandments, which is like, don't sacrifice things to idols, don't eat blood, don't commit sexual immorality. And then if you read chapter 21, it says, because the law of Moses is preached every Shabbat. So if they're going to the synagogue to hear the law of Moses, it's because they're going to learn with time. Because verse 21 doesn't talk about bestiality. Does that mean Gentiles can't commit bestiality? No. They're going to learn as they go.
No, see, this is my argument. So then my argument is that, go ahead, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so then you're saying, hey, then the new covenant is the same as the old covenant.
No, she's saying that the new covenant
creates an on-ramp for Gentiles to have a starter pack and get their way to full-on Mosaic Judaism.
Yeah, I mean, that was already part of the Old Covenant as well. So what's the difference?
Not the starter pack.
The starter pack was when the Jews had to put him on Sinai.
No, the starter pack is not part of this.
The starter pack was a part of. Yeah. I'm just saying the starter pack was a part of people coming, foreigners and strangers coming into the land.
No, you're thinking of either the Noahide Code, which was for strangers to maintain a standard, but it wasn't like encouraging them to join Judaism, or you're talking about like someone that did adopt Judaism by circumcision. This is attempting to have a new means of joining into the covenant without having circumcision. That's a new concept. The Noahides are not part of the covenant.
Exactly. And for you to be saved and have salvation in Jesus, you have to be part of the covenant.
Sure. So, we're talking about joining the covenant, right? And so foreigners and strangers coming into the land of Israel, in order to join the covenant, they would have to get, that would be the starter pack, would be getting circumcised.
No.
Circumcision wasn't the starter pack?
No, I'm saying circumcision. The circumcision would put them in a covenant, yeah, but this is not talking about circumcision. This is talking about...
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh.
What I'm saying is there is a starter pack for Gentiles in the old covenant to come into the covenant.
But that's not a starter pack. That's just the whole deal.
Yeah, they just take the whole deal.
No,
that's straight up circumcision.
Okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is that, listen to what I'm saying. The difference is a foreigner and a stranger didn't grow up under the Mosaic covenant. So as they're coming in, they're going to need to start somewhere. So circumcision was the starter pack. Keeping the Sabbaths, those are starter packs. Then
no, that's full-on conversion.
That's full-on conversion.
You're doing.
No, yeah, but they don't learn everything all at one time. Would you agree?
I'm saying, listen, what I'm trying to say is that a non-Jew that lives in Israel under the Mosaic Code, he is expected to obey the 7 laws. He has to follow those. Anything else he does is optional until he decides to get circumcised, keep the Sabbath, and be a full-on Jew, at which point he is.
Yeah, so the reason why...
What she's arguing is that Jesus is preaching not to just non-Jews that happen to be in the land of Israel. She's saying that Jesus is coming with a new on-ramp for everyone in the entire world. And the on-ramp does not require circumcision. Instead, it requires refraining from sacrificing to idols, no eating of blood. And then you're going to eventually get to full-on Mosaic law, but you're going to be in the covenant before you even do the circumcision.
Right.
That's her understanding, and it's a fair read.
Okay, hold on. One thing. She said, hey, I don't want to speak for you, but she said that if someone is a Christian, the child should be circumcised on the 8th day as a matter of religious obligation. Okay? So she's not, that's, I just want to bring that caveat. That's what launched this conversation. Now, I want to ask you, hey, when you read the passage with Paul, is it Peter talking? He said that the Gentiles were given the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And he said that shows that God accepted them. How do you understand that? It's not a gotcha. I just want, like, is it that they're accepted before they do any of the law?
Yeah.
And then during the law they remain accepted? Or what are you saying here?
Yeah, they're accepted before they keep the commandments because they're accepted because they have faith in Christ. So having faith in Christ is what puts you inside of the covenant. Once you're inside of the covenant, you're going to keep the commandments of God. But for you to enter the covenant, you don't have to keep any commandments. You just have your faith in Jesus Christ.
Okay, so what do you mean when you say you must keep the commandments and the laws?
Okay.
It's just a matter of you enter the covenant, and out of love and duty to Hashem, you keep the commandments and the laws. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean that too, but I mean more than that. So in the covenant of Christ, okay, so for example, Jesus, right? I believe Jesus is sinless. He never break any law, right? But Jesus kept the law not to be righteous. He kept the law because he was righteous. Because the Bible says, he who's righteous does work. There's no way that you're a righteous person and you don't practice righteousness. And we know the law is righteous. So once you've been made clean and righteous by the blood of Christ, you're going to keep the law of Moses because it's a righteous thing to do. You're not doing it in order to be saved. No, you're doing it because that's the right thing to do. Does that make sense? Because faith without works is dead. So if you have faith in Christ, I have to see your faith through your works.
The part that makes it difficult is that line that says, notice how they say, then some of the believers who belong to the party of the Pharisees stood up and said that Gentiles must be circumcised and required to keep the law of Moses. Now, you're saying that the new covenant does not require circumcision, right?
To enter it, yes. Yes.
But then that means you agree with them. You actually agree with this statement that, in a sense, the Gentiles must be circumcised and required to keep the law of Moses. You agree with them, right?
No, I'm saying.
You don't agree with them.
No, I'm saying as a grown man, if you don't get circumcised, you're still saved. You don't have to get circumcised to be saved. But once you enter the covenant through faith in Christ, you should be keeping God's law. I'm not saying circumcision because circumcision is on the 8th day anyway. So you're not going to keep that law. However, you should get your children circumcised because that's the right thing to do.
When your children are circumcised, are they keeping the law or are you keeping the law?
We are keeping the law, and that's the reason why that's the reason why when you get baptized, you have godparents, and your godparents.
Who said
I don't know. It was just
Smiling. It was smiling.
So you have godparents that's supposed to make sure that you keep up. Suggest everybody to next Wednesday get their ashes. Get your ashes. You can go at night if you don't want to walk around with ashes on your head all day, right?
Can you explain to us the whole ritual from the beginning?
No. We're not going to ashes.
Oh gosh.
Okay, all right. Sorry. We're not going to do that. But listen. From the book that I posted about the laws, I actually asked it this very question, and I'm going to post from the book. Yeah. From the book, and because this is really interesting.
Do you believe in pedobaptism, child baptism?
No,
Of course.
I don't believe in that.
Why you gonna call pedobaptism, bro? What the fuck kind of shit is that?
Yeah, pedo just means baby.
Pedo just means child.
What you know, man? Come on, you don't do that, man.
Okay, well,
I don't believe that.
the reason I asked you that question, is that, like, it seems as though if you're saying that I should have my child circumcised, which is a sign, on the 8th day, pedobaptism is very similar. That's one of the sacraments that all the church agrees on, right?
No, that's not in the Bible. So that is not a law that God gave.
No, when I say pedobaptism, I meant baptism. Sorry, baptism is one of the sacraments everyone's agrees on.
But the point is, Say it again. You can see it. So you repeat again.
Baptism.
I would disagree, and I would say it's not the same thing because circumcision, God Himself said that. So we can't compare that to church tradition, right? Because the point of baptism is for you to be born again. So every single person within the Bible getting baptized are grown-up people that decide to put the old man away and be a new creature under Christ. A child doesn't understand that. So only a grown-up can truly be born again and truly decide to follow Jesus because they have making a conscious choice. Okay, I don't want to live wickedly. I want to follow my Messiah, so I get baptized.
There you go. Yeah. Circumcision is a sign of the first circumcision. Was the sign of entry to the covenant.
Circumcision was the sign of the most Abrahamic covenant.
Oh, I see what they say. They're trying to say that baptism's also a sign, so even babies should get it.
Well, if that's the case, you should see a book, chapter, verse. It's really that simple.
It is. Well, I mean, if you're saying So if
Are you going to be hypocrites and use the Tanakh? Then yeah, we do have to.
Stop it. What we're saying is, Smiley being polemical again, man. We're not Muslims.
Oh, sorry.
Yo, these booze are cold.
He just can't help himself. So we see.
You know how you'd be like, they want to eat that pork, so I want to keep that law, man. I want to keep that law.
I don't. But if you believe in the Bible, like bro.
I'm not saying keep.
Sorry, Jason.
On Jesus a liar. He's all like, I asked her 7 liars. That's what I want you to do.
I want to hear A's question because I asked her 7. Were you
I was gonna ask. Oh yeah, but Jason wanted to say something first. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my God, Jason.
Well, I gotta find the verse, but there is a verse that states that baptism is the new circumcision of the covenant.
Hey, let's get it.
Yeah, but that still wouldn't make your point because.
The second is bringing up the
So you're basically saying that children can sin. You can't impute sin on a child. So baptizing a child doesn't make any sense because the child doesn't sin.
We're not saying you don't get baptized because you're a sinner. You're baptized because you're entering into the covenant.
Remember, yeah, you said the
Why do you
circumcision.
enter the covenant?
Because you're not in the covenant.
Hey, that's what we're saying.
Then why are you in the covenant? That's the point.
Because you believe.
Well, you're not.
Kids
You
don't
believe in Christ.
Yeah,
And Christ preaches righteousness.
but hey, similarly to when Abraham had to get sacrificed and everybody in his house because they weren't in covenant at that moment until he gets the circumcision, then he enters the covenant with God.
Can you be saved without baptism?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So it's not what's not the sign of the covenant then.
Yeah, can you be saved without circumcision?
In the new covenant, yes.
In the old
Absolutely.
In the old covenant.
In the old covenant, you don't even enter without circumcision.
Okay,
That's the point.
But you're shifting the goalposts. I'm saying,
Repeat your point, Jason. That was a good point.
can you be saved without being circumcised or being in the covenant?
1 second. You're asking in the covenant of Christ?
I'm saying in the old covenant.
There's no salvation in the old covenant.
Alright, well, listen, I'm not gonna.
Where's the salvation in the old covenant? There's no salvation.
The salvation.
You just keep the laws and that's it.
Yeah, I would say the old covenant points to what salvation is in the new covenant.
Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness.
That's the same thing you do. When you believe Jesus, it's counted to you as righteousness. But once you've been made righteous, you're going to keep righteous things. You're going to keep the law of God.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing as entering into a covenant.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that in the new covenant, the baptism replaces circumcision.
Wait, let's ask a really important question. Circumcision in the new covenant, is not entering into any covenant. It's just keeping the law.
Yes,
correct.
You're not. You're not getting circumcised to enter the covenant. Because the circumcision law is on the 8th day. Like you guys keep missing that point. It's on the 8th day.
It depends which one we're talking about because the Mosaic.
We're talking about the law of Moses. That's what we're talking about. So according to the law of Moses, circumcision is on the 8th day.
I don't know if that's what's on the table. Let me tell you why. The people in Acts 15 said you must be circumcised and keep the law of Moses. But if the law of Moses is part and parcel of the circumcision, why would they be redundant?
Because they're saying in the sense of like, hey, if you need to do circumcision, meaning once you do circumcision, you're not in the covenant. And now you're in the covenant, now you got to keep the law of Moses. They basically treating these Gentiles as proselytes. Like, you got to fully convert into this.
So it's a double covenant? It's a double covenant?
No, it's not a double covenant.
Yes, it is. You're telling me I need to get circumcised and I need to be baptized.
Who's saying that you need to get... I never said a grown man has to be circumcised. What you guys talking about?
No, we're talking about as a child.
Yes, your parents should circumcise you.
Okay, so that's one covenant. And then later on,
You're just not still fully in the covenant yet because you haven't been baptized yet. So it's a double covenant.
As a woman, you really don't have skin in the game on this. You gotta let the man.
I don't really care about.
Yeah, there's no pun intended. No skin in the game, no pun intended.
You gotta let the game on this, man. You know, I gotta get this right too, but you don't even know where I stand, Hank. You know what I'm saying? My baby could be 7 days old. I might have 24 hours, Hank. You don't know that.
Your wife better pull out that shank real quick.
Mike wasn't playing, but that was the first covenant. And see, this is what's so beautiful about this. When we have this conversation, nobody's at each other's throat because it's not salvific. We all agree. This is not a salvation issue. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all been doing the faith alone too much. Y'all been doing the faith alone way too much, man. That faith alone.
Faith alone doesn't save you. We know
That
that.
shit you into that caught up. That shit be getting you caught up. That's the problem.
Right, but it doesn't save you.
He's calling for us Protestants, man. We're ready. We got our soul fide on deck.
Nah, you ain't got no sola fide. That's crazy.
Faith alone can save you.
Show me where Jesus says sola fide.
So you guys are mixing things up, right? Be saved and not be in the covenant.
Yes, you can.
This is Old Testament and New Testament.
No, I'm saying you can be in the covenant and not be saved.
Let me ask a question.
Vice versa. I'm saying.
Because there's people that believe in Jesus, they're in the covenant, but they're still gonna go to hell.
Yeah. So
you have the Holy Spirit. You have the Holy Spirit then. What you do?
They are though, because they have faith in Christ. They're casting demons in the name of Jesus. They're doing things.
Smiling.
If you're in the covenant, you're part of the agreement, and the agreement was that if you believe in Christ, then you go to heaven. That's the covenant.
Okay, no. That's not the only. That's not the only agreement. You can't just believe in your head. I believe in Jesus, and you're going to heaven.
That's that faith alone. I'm telling you so.
You don't do that. So I believe in Jesus, but I'm gonna go fornicate. I'm gonna go kill him. I believe in Jesus.
All right, hold on.
That's the Muslim shit right there.
Here's the verse, Colossians 2. It says, "In him also you were circumcised with a circumcision made without hands, putting off the body of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ, having been buried with him in baptism, in which you were raised with him through faith in the powerful working of God who raised him from the dead. And you who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven us of our trespasses by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. He set aside, nailing it to the cross. He disarmed the rulers and authorities and put them to open shame by trampling them over. So we see that the baptism is replacing circumcision, physical circumcision.
I don't see that.
Well, it says, okay, so he's saying here, baptism circumcises your heart.
But that's the point, though.
That's true.
So, but this is what I'm saying. He's saying that once the baptism, you're born again, right?
No, he did say born again.
But that's the circumcision of the heart. Once your heart is circumcised, you were born again because Megatron, you're the only heretic here, bro. Don't start. Like, go pray to Mary or something.
What it's saying is we're being baptized into his death, burial, and resurrection, which is the covenant.
Which is to be born again.
I mean, that's a different argument, but sure.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get into the born again details, but
can you follow Jesus without being born again?
Can you follow Jesus? Yeah, you can follow Jesus and not be born again. Yeah.
No. I'm saying based on what he's saying in Colossians, that can you be buried and risen with Christ without being born again?
Can you be buried and risen with Christ without?
Yeah.
No.
But right, so that's what I'm saying. So when your heart is circumcised, that means you have the laws of God in your heart.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right. So once you have the laws of God in your heart, you're just gonna walk in righteousness.
Yep.
That is the circumcision of the heart.
I agree.
Okay, that's my understanding of the text. I don't see this as saying, hey, you don't need to get circumcised in the flesh at all. Like,
I just wonder, with the Pauline verses, I'm thinking off the top of my head. Again, I really want to know what you think. It's not me catching anyone.
Which one?
When he says something along the lines of, wherever God found you, that
I like to eat food.
Okay, keep talking.
I don't know. I don't like driving.
I know.
Are you ready to get what do you call it? A robot chauffeur or what?
I mean, honestly, you know that like you have to pay extra for the Tesla to drive itself, right? Like even though they have that in them, that like you don't just get that as like a feature.
It's $100 a month.
Yeah, so like that's weird. And
Well, it depends on what
also
you're driving.
sometimes the lane tracing is fucked up, and like my car will try to. I don't have a Tesla, but my car will try to kill me. So I don't know how I feel about. Okay, like what are you doing?
Would it be kind of like Siri? You were more than last time. Let's see how you handle this. So in this case, the Tesla will tell you if it sees some fucked up changes in lanes. It'll say, grab the fucking steering wheel because
Yeah, my car does that too, and an alarm goes off. It tells you like lane tracing unavailable ahead. Grab the wheel, and I'm like, well, that's fucking unhelpful.
Yeah, but it's only for a short break, and it just catches it. Like in my case, the way I no, but like the case where
Yeah, you were going to make the point.
no, I'm saying, no, we go. I'll go after.
Just depending on how far your commute is, it can be well worth $100 to be able to work while you're supposed to be driving.
Well, especially me, I drive like a fucking maniac. Plus, I use my phone, I'm smoking cigarettes, I'm drinking coffees, I'm eating. Like, I'm literally steering with my leg. For other drivers that have useless.
We don't trust you to do anything.
Because a lot of people on the road do a lot of stupid things, and this can help kind of the safety for others. Is that an admission and guilt or just talking from experience? Which is it?
And then some people do all the stupid things, and we call them rapping.
Exactly. Like, I do all the above. So I could just see Rafi now telling his blood, hey, do this. Stop paying attention to the rules.
He needs to get a bot, you're right.
After you do what I say fuck my life so I don't have to.
He does need a bot.
Hello? Hello?
I'm off all of next week. You're lucky, man. Yeah. Is it like winter break or something? Yeah, they have
Word on Monday.
and my birthday falls during that week. So
Shit. When's your happy birthday early?
the 20th.
Okay, well, happy birthday, girl.
Hey.
We'll have to do something.
It's gonna be legal.
Oh, I'm legal.
Are you a legal beagle?
Just making sure you're of age now.
I'm
It's always a big deal.
almost
You're the greatest show part.
Are you afraid that Heather's underage, Ruben? Is that what it
No,
is?
She might be too old for you.
I am too old.
Everyone hates you now. Hey, Jeff, the fun stuff. Sorry.
What fun stuff?
Well, it's been a little while since I've seen you, and I was going to say that about to start construction on part of my house, which you've been witness to.
That's good.
It's formation.
So my slightly different job, it's like 5% less responsibility and
It doesn't. She would have an office in San Francisco where she would be expected to go and not travel, and that's already radical. That's a radical shift.
yeah. So instead of being stuck in all the other cities you're not in, she's just going to be stuck in one city you're not in.
Yes, but it's a city I want to go to, and she'd have a place that I would want to be in. Yeah, pussy about it, but
There is hope.
she's definitely there is progress being made, and I've insisted on continuous progress, and she's up for it. She thinks that me do it, or I'll break up with her. And she was like, great, I love lists.
Way to hold your ground, Ruben. Way to hold your ground.
I like that.
It's a very fluid city, okay? But yeah.
Ruben, you wanted it very well. Yeah.
Send it by email?
No, I texted it to her.
Live in society because my tweet.
We choose to trust you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Earlier this week I received a text and asked me if I would take the time to speak tonight, and if I would like to. And I'm always honored to speak to you women, and I'm always honored to get the opportunity, but I'm also always nervous because I don't ever know what the Lord is going to say, what he's going to do. And when I got the title, I was so...
Your games. So never think that NBA scout is going to come by your game and put you in. Of curling in the United States is in Duluth, Minnesota. So you know that all of those athletes have something to say about their home state. Because, or not their home state necessarily, but that's where they train.
This is crazy, bro.
Let me clarify. It actually tells you that God instructed him which animals were clean and weren't clean. So he didn't know. God instructed him when he was loading up the ark.
But okay, but that's my point. He ended up finding out, right?
Yeah, he just. But
okay, but the text doesn't say.
But it doesn't say what purposes they're clean and unclean.
Right? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, when you look at Moses' father, did he marry his auntie?
That Moses' father sinned for marrying his aunt?
Yeah.
I don't even know the story. This was before the Mosaic Law given, so no.
That's the point. You make it all point.
No way.
You make it all point.
I don't know what point you're making. What's the point?
The point is today you cannot. That is a sin. But in the time of Abraham, it was not a sin. When Jacob married two sisters, that is a sin today. You cannot marry two sisters today. It's sin, but it was.
That sin is the transgression of the law. So please, A, tell us what law they transgressed in the latter case you just gave.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they did not transgress the law because there wasn't a law telling them you cannot marry your sister.
Yes.
So they didn't sin.
No.
Oh, they did it. Good. Get it? They did it not. Got it. Okay, I got it now.
But if you do it today, you sin because there's a law today that tells you not to marry your half sister.
Okay. Is it? Let me ask you this.
You gonna toss that law out too, or what? You ain't gonna.
Yeah, but how about in Acts 15, free man?
God is immutable.
So it's not just, they thought these people were bad and therefore these people were savages and they were close to monkeys and all. That's not really the case. Or they were subhuman. Like people.
What's for Tanas?
So I'm gonna tell my Valentine to go celebrate with another lady.
Yep. On the 13th.
I'm confused by that one.
Yeah, whatever. Google it.
Did you just try to put one on me?
No, I didn't. I'm being serious. Google it. Ain't nobody got time for this.
Yeah, that's hard to explain, Bliss. I agree. If you don't get it.
The mosaic out of the favorite bottles of your crush sodas. Of your fucking face. That's not happening.
Yeah, can I have some money? What?
What?
I don't know.
You just want some random money?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah, where do I send the Monopoly dollars?
You gotta have a
something to do with it. I mean, no one's going to give you money. Example, the Virginians have to change, or maybe they have to add on to the slave codes, because blacks enslaved persons, and blacks got baptized, so I should be free. It becomes very, very complicated because enslaved Africans and Indians in America start to press on that. He also, in the interview, he said, and I didn't know this, which is actually kind of interesting. He says that they, began to treat wars within Christendom as civil wars. So if you had a war between nations, it could justify enslaving, either enslaved or executed if you were like what we now call person, they're captive in a war or whatever. But what they began to do was they began to see nations as sort of subordinate to Christendom, right? And so if I was in France and you were in England, the reason why, even though we were different nations, we were still under Christendom. And the African wasn't, or the Indian wasn't, or the Asian wasn't. And so he talks about the book is obviously more detailed than the interviews I've heard, but I'll read it in the book. So it's very, very interesting stuff, at least to me. But the turn to Rome is fascinating, and the fact that there's this new book that I didn't know about your mom's about to share with us. I look forward to reading that too, because Rome is at the center of a lot of this stuff.
It's called The Origins of the Just War by Rory Cox.
Origins. Thank you. I will order that right now. Yeah, the war stuff is at the center, and this is completely gone out of how regular people talk about slavery. But the question of war, ethics of war, just war, that stuff is at the center of all the justifications of slavery before 1750. Let's say 1725. But we don't really talk about those things anymore.